Oh, hey everybody! It's old Kevin Strange coming back at you with another video piece. I'm throwing in some links onto the socials. And then we'll get going. How's everybody doing today, gang? Let me grab this up, do a little copy paste into here. And one more. Come on, into here. Throw that in there. All right. Socials have been notified of the show. We got Skinny up in this piece. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. How's it going? Thanks for joining me. I'm going to talk today about my process, how I take my script and turn it into my layouts and thumbnails, which then get turned into big-ass 11 by 17 pencil pages, digitized, digitally inked, lettered, and colored, and then released as comic book pieces. Today is Free Comic Book Day, and there's a link below in the description to grab a free PDF copy of Nixon and Hogan Hate Comics, my brand new 17-page black and white comic book piece. You can grab that comic by signing up to the Strange Sayings newsletter, and you'll be notified of all the new comics we do, discounts for merch drops and products. That'll all be happening. I'm going to start doing the newsletter weekly and putting out all kinds of cool exclusive deals through the newsletter. It'll be a big focus on the newsletter this year. So you can grab that today for free by signing up to the newsletter. Skinny says, my degenerate sense was tingling. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We get dirty around here. We get dirty up in Strangeville. There's a lot of strip clubs in Strangeville, Skinny. A whole lot of strip clubs. But yeah, we're giving away this comic book piece right here, the 17-pager and high-quality PDF download right there. kevinstrange.com/newsletter. Sign up. We'll get you this cool-ass Strangeville comic featuring Nixon and Hogan. Oh, look at that handsome fella. Look at that gentleman over there drawing butts. Hard at work down here drawing butts. Gets interrupted by Nixon and Hogan being weirdos. Yeah, you grab that for free. Sign up for the newsletter below in the description. So, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I'm hard at work here. This week I sent out all the Cockhammer Lives graphic novel shipments, and I started in on the thank you videos. I've got about a third of them done. I'm going to keep working on that. I'm going to shoot a new block of them tomorrow. So if you are a Cockhammer Lives backer and you have not yet received your personalized thank you video, those are coming. Those will be around the bend in the coming week. I only have 2 hands, 2 feet, and 1 dick, so this is a one-man operation, so it takes me a while to get everything done. And I've been smashing out the thumbnails on a brand new comic book that I plan to have finished for a September release so that it comes out in time so that the campaign finishes around the beginning or the middle of October so that you all get your comic book by Halloween, because it is a Halloween-themed comic book called Nixon and Hogan's Horror Weed Halloween. And yes, they smoke the bones of the Dead and unleash Death Head Doug, a brand new villain in the Strangeville universe, never before seen. That's next up on the chopping block as far as comic books are concerned. And I'm not done with the thumbnailing, but I'm pretty far into it. I'm 41 pages into the thumbnailing process. Let me bring up my script. Let me see if I can. Yeah, here we go. Let me bring up my script and show you guys how I write. So you should be able to see my. I can't see it very well, but you'll get the idea. This is how I write my scripts. They're very bare bones. I don't put a lot of fancy formatting into my scripts because they're only going to be looked at by me. So the only person that needs to be able to decipher the way my formatting for comic books is me. I've never read a how-to write a comic book script tutorial or book or anything like that. I don't have templates for how to write scripts. I just write the way that makes sense to me. And so I write in scenes, pages, and panels. So scene 1, so this is Nixon and Hogan's Horrorweed Halloween by Kevin Strange. Scene 1, page 1, panel 1, and panel 2. There's only 2 panels to the first page, so then that ends the first page and we go on to page 2. So I'm going to show you how that translates over into then what we're looking at. So this is page 1, scene 1, page 1, panels 1 and 2. So I'm thumbnailing out on blank 3x5 note cards, and so I have 2 panels. I do a rough sketch with a 0.9 mechanical pencil, and so I've sketched out my 2 panels there. It's Nixon and Hogan's house, a bunch of Halloween decorations, and there's a chair out front with a dummy sitting in it. And then the second panel is a close-up of that dummy who's flipping off the world and holding a sign that says "No candy for you, bitch." And that is the rough thumbnail for page number 1. And so it goes on like that. It goes on like that for each individual page. So I write my script first. So let me pull down here to a piece of the script near the end that hasn't been paneled yet. So when I first write the script, I write it out. I just write out what happens. So here's a page, for example, where I haven't gotten to this part yet, so it's not yet thumbnailed. Let me blow this back up. So it's literally just Hogan's dialogue, and then some bolded, and I center that, and then I bold and left justify actions that happen, and then back to the dialogue, back to an action, dialogue, action, dialogue, action, dialogue, dialogue. So that's as much formatting as you'll ever see in a Kevin Strange script. All that does is it lays it out easily for me to see where I can then block this action off, and then the decision making that I come to about how many panels a particular scene or a particular series of actions are going to be is just I feel it out. I feel it out through years and years and years of storytelling, writing scripts, and then making films. Back in my early 20s, I learned how to block out shots and scenes. And so when I write a comic book script, I write it as though I'm writing a movie script, and I think in terms of movie shots. So each panel to me is a different shot or camera angle that I need to convey some sort of action happening or piece of dialogue being delivered. And so I will then just try to think of an entire page as a thought, like a sequence of thoughts that fit together. So a page might have, and I'll pull back up here and show you guys some more paneled pages. In fact, I think I can pretty much just show you my thumbnails from here out, and I don't think I have to show you the script anymore. Skinny says, your script looks much like mine. I include panel layouts using brackets. That's cool. However it makes sense. You and your, if you're not the artist, you and your artist, you can develop your own language. When Alan Moore was writing The Watchmen, he famously would write like 100 pages to describe one page panel sequence, and then hand that off to his artist, and the artist would then have to read this 100-page novella to understand what was happening on that particular page. And they had, a lot of patience with each other, and they told their story that way. The more and more the more comfortable I become writing and drawing comics, the less I put in a script, and the more I try to feel out through images. So my scripts are getting shorter and shorter, and the books are actually getting longer and longer, as I sort of trust my gut instinct about how to tell the story visually and not worry so much about the what's on the page itself. I used to really rely heavily on that page. The page was my anchor. The page was my roadmap. And then I was reluctantly and very timidly sort of learning to draw comics. Now I'm trying to lean heavier on the comics and less heavy on the script is basically where I put my dialogue. And a lot of the actions happen here in the comic itself. So page 2 has 1, 2, 3, 4 panels. I tend to start with, and we'll get to one here really quickly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is actually a big set of panels for me. I typically don't even get up to 5. 6 is really rare. I almost never do 7, 8, or 9 panels to a page. As a cartoonist, my storytelling style, I tend to like big, blocky, square panels, square or rectangle panels, and I like to keep them very easy to read, almost like a cartoon strip, more than the kind of crazy paneling, like a Todd McFarlane 90s image-esque mess on a page where the panels don't make any fucking sense at all, and you're just basically looking at a splooge of art on a page. That's cool. I like looking at it. I don't like telling my stories that way. So here we have a 4-panel page, which is again more common from what you'll get from me. But this is where I start. Every page starts as a 3-panel, three panoramic panel page. And then as I need to tell more, as I feel like a thought or a sequence of thoughts that are connected need to be told on a particular page, I'll expand. I'll start with 3 and then add more and more and more as I need them, up to usually about 5, rarely 6, 7, never more than that, really. So as we get through here, you'll see more 4-panel pages, another 4-panel page, a 3-panel page. I do this a lot where I have a full page, but then 2 panels at the top that sort of lead you in, a couple of movements that are necessary to get you to the big payoff, full page, and then there's an actual full page that comes right after it. There's a 3-panel page. I like the big half-page splashes. I use a lot of them where I want my images to just be big and loud, right in your face. See another 4. I think we've had 1 5-panel page. There's back to the standard 3. Now we're back to another 5, another 5-panel page, another 4-panel page, another 4-panel page, and I'll get stuck in these rhythms where I mirror the because it's the same scene that's happening. So I'll end up mirroring these 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll fall into a rhythm. And now I just switched it 1, 2, 3, 4, and then break it up with a 3-panel page and then a 2-panel page, back to a 3-panel page. on and on and on and on. And then we'll go back here to Nixon and Hogan Hate Comics and show you guys what that looks like in practice, what an actual comic book that I make looks like. So page 1 is that same. I like to start. I do this a lot. I start off a lot of comics with the two panel page, and most Nixon and Hogan comics start with a shot of Nixon's house. That's like a classic. I start the movies this way. I start the comics this way, and it'll say Strangeville, Illinois up in the corner, and sort of sets the mood, sets the scene for where we're at in the neighborhood. You know, whose house we're hanging out at, and then you'll see there's a 4-panel, 1, 2, 3, 4. You see how big these. Here's my hand. So you see how big these fucking pictures are in the comic book. I make these big, loud, garish panels. There's another 1, 2, 3, 4. So you start to see this rhythm of how I do comics. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 2 4-panel pages back to back, and you can kind of see the rhythm of the story, the pace, the rhythm of the pace of how I tell stories. There's my classic 3-panel, and then a 2-panel again. So I don't think there's been a 5-panel yet. There's a 4, a 4, a 4, a 3, and a 2. So we haven't even had 5 panels yet to a page. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the idea. These are most of this comic is there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we finally get to our first 5-panel page halfway through the comic, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's how I tell my stories. And when I'm looking at my script and break it down, like I said, they start as 3 panoramic panels, and then I add a 4th or a 5th where necessary, sometimes a 6th, but not super often do I go that far. And most American comics do they start with a 6-panel grid, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go from there. And then they add more or take them away as necessary. I start with the 3-piece and add or subtract as necessary. But yeah, that's a 3-piece that it's pretty much the standard Strangeville layout. So as I'm going through that script, I first just write the script. Dialogue, action, dialogue, action, dialogue, action. I write through the entire script. Then I start back over at the beginning and I get out my blank, a series of blank note cards. And then as I go through the script and panel out, say page 1, I'll panel out 5 pages. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'll go back to the beginning and I'll actually draw the panels, the 5 panels into the thumbnails. And as I'm visualizing in my head what those shots look like. And so we get down here later on into the book. So we got all kinds of finished thumbnails that we're looking at here all the way through page 23, page 25, all the way down here. And then we get here, and you'll notice that these last few pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7, I think it might be 7 pages, that I've paneled out, but I haven't drawn in the thumbnails yet. So that's where I'm at in the process. So these last 7 pages, I went through and I paneled 7 pages, and then I went in and I did my 3 panels, So it's a 3-panel page. Sorry. A 3-panel page, a 3-panel page, a 5-panel page, a 4-panel page, a 3-panel page. One of those double splash pages that I like. A 4 and another 3. So those are the ones that I'll go in and thumbnail next. And these thumbnails are not meant to be exactly what the comic is going to look like. It's just a visualization of where the story is going. So, for instance, this is a page that's the origin of Death Head Doug. He's telling these girls that he's in the middle of having carnal relations with. He's going to then tell them his origin story, his backstory. So he's a traveling dildo salesman. So we see a shot of him. I know you can't see what that is. It's just squiggly lines, but it's a guy standing at the base of a sidewalk, and there's a street behind him and some houses behind him, and he's standing there holding a bag. And then the next shot is him smiling, holding the bag. The bag's open and it's full of dildos. And then the final shot of the page is him using the dildos on a bored housewife, because he's a traveling dildo salesman. So he has to show the housewives how the product works. And this isn't necessarily exactly how the page is going to be drawn, but it gives me a good idea of what it can look like, what that would look like in sequence together. And I like it. I like the way that looks. I like the art of that page. So when I go to blow it up to my big 11 by 17 Bristol board paper, then I'll draw it out exactly the same way. I'll panel the Bristol board exactly the same way, and then I'll start sketching in how I want the pages to look, and make changes from there. And I change that. I change it often from when I transfer this to the 11 by 17 pencil page. I will often decide it needs more panels, it needs less panels. I want a different angle. I want to split this shot in two, or this shot in two, or do it entirely differently. I've gone all the way to digitizing the 11 by 17 pages and starting the inking process, and then deciding in the inking process that I need to change things from even the 11 by 17. So it remains a very loose process all the way through. And it only gets more and more loose as I get more and more confident, make more and more comics. These little basic templates that I create are often changed and manipulated and service, in service of the story, until we finally get to the final version. Usually once it's inked and I start to color it, I won't change it again, because that's a pain in the fucking ass to change anything after that. So Craven Morstead says, traveling dildo salesman, living the dream. That's exactly what his dialogue is there in all those shots. He's like, I was living my dream. I love nothing more in the world than making butts come. It goes on and on. It's a funny Death Head Doug's origin story is really funny. So that's all I really wanted to do, was come in real quick, tell you guys. Excuse me, choking on water. Oh, Jesus. Dying over here. I wanted to show you guys a little bit about the thumbnailing process. I may have done a video of this before a while back, maybe last year when I was doing Cockhammer Lives, but I don't know that I've ever gone into. I know I've never shown my script. I've never actually shown a shot of my script on a show before, so that kind of shows you the translation between the way I write and then the way I see that writing visualized in my thumbnails on the page. And I also wanted to make sure you guys hit that link below in the description and pick up your free Nixon and Hogan Hates comic books from the newsletter, and get all nice and signed up for the newsletter, because you guys are going to be getting hit with weekly newsletter emails regarding all kinds of cool stuff. We have a lot coming up to do this summer. We've got a big tour that we're going on starting in July. So I basically have from May, June, July, I have between 8 and 10 weeks to do this comic, where I'll actually have the free time to do this comic before the tour starts. And we're going to hit, it's like mid-July, 2 weeks later at the end of July, beginning of August. There's possibly a 2 weeks later in August show, a show in October, at the very beginning of October. So I only have a few weeks off. I'll basically be screwed if I don't get this comic book done by the beginning of July, because I want it to be I want it to do the crowdfunder on Indiegogo in September, so that I can mail it. I want to go September 1st to October 1st, so that I can mail it out and it gets to you guys in plenty of time. It gets to you guys like mid-October, and then you guys can read a cool Halloween story during the Halloween season. I think that'll be cool. We've never done a Halloween story before at Strangeville. Believe it or not, 15 years, 3 fucking Christmas stories. I've never done a fucking Halloween story, so I'm excited to do that. We're up to 41 pages. This is going to be probably somewhere between 48 and 56 pages, I would say, when I'm done. So a nice chunky one-shot floppy comic, which means we should be able to sell that on the Indiegogo for like $12. It ought to be pretty cheap, pretty fucking cheap on the Indiegogo. So that'll be a fun one to do. And then we get to bring it out on the road with us when we start the shows, or at least I'll have for the October shows, the October and beyond shows. I might not take them out while the campaign's still going on, and I might not even have them done in time to bring them out in those late July shows. So anyway, that's going to be fun. We're going to draw this together live here on the YouTube show, and each week I'll send a link out in the newsletter to this week's show, so that you guys can catch up. If you don't watch the show live, then you'll be able to catch up by getting that notification in the newsletter. We're also going to I'm going to put all the comics, all the movies, all the books up on our Square store, and you'll be able to buy, and the card game, up on the Square store, and you'll be able to directly buy all the stuff. So right now, if you didn't buy Dead Shit, the Talisman of Transmutation, the floppy comics, they aren't available. There's nowhere to get them. The card game, if you didn't back the card game during its campaign last year, there's nowhere to get it. The movies, you can get them, but they're not on the Square store. So I'm going to consolidate and have everything available right there in the Square store. And then with the Square store, I can actually do discounts. So I will, in those newsletters, in those weekly newsletters, sometimes you'll get a newsletter exclusive discount to buy merch and products, and it'll be themed. It'll be like, I'll give you like a 10 or 15% discount on just the novels one week, or I'll give you a 10 or 15% discount on the card game, or on the movies, or on the comic books. It'll be a mix. It'll be a mix of discounts, but those are going to start rolling out this summer, and a lot of new merch. Hats are coming. New shirts and hoodies are coming. There's going to be a lot of movement on the merchandising front as well. Craven Morstead says some people put standard issues out there for $25, so that's not bad at all. I try to keep my prices really low for you guys, because I'm poor and I know you're poor, and I'm not here to gouge you. I'm not here to try to make $1 million off each individual Strangehead. I make a little bit of profit. I'm able to replace every issue I sell. I'm able to replace it with a new issue and then have a little bit of profit on the other side of it. And that's plenty for me. That keeps us going. That keeps the ball rolling, and hopefully brings in more and more people. You know, if there's 10,000 Strangeheads that are paying a little bit for a product, I'm making as much as if I was trying to gouge 100 guys. I don't want to gouge 100 heads for some overblown price to try to make a profit. Well, I'd rather find 10,000 heads and make a little bit of profit off of each time you guys buy something. It ain't like I'm selling you guys snake oil. This is funny shit. This is good shit I'm giving you guys. To Craven Morstead's point, I sold Cockhammer Lives, the graphic novel, at $25, and it's 152 fucking pages. So I'm not going to sell if Horror Weed Halloween ends up being 56 pages. I ain't going to fucking sell that to you for $25. I'm going to try to sell it to you as cheap as I can, around 10 or 12 bucks, probably 12. But I'm going to sell it to you as cheap as I fucking can. That's how we do things here in Strangeville. And hats are going to be cheap too. I think I can sell you guys hats at $15. And I should be able to sell shirts to you guys for $15, and hoodies for probably around 30. We'll just have to see what the hoodie market looks like once I price all that out. the ball keeps on rolling, guys. We're really ramping up Strangeville stuff this year, and there's going to be a lot of cool stuff out there for you guys. So that's going to do it for me. Again, I keep harping on it, but make sure you click that description and sign up for the newsletter so you get all those benefits this summer as we fucking start rolling all this cool shit out. And coming out, come meet the citizens of Strangeville at a convention near you. We're doing a show in Kansas City, Missouri in mid-July, 16th, 17th, 18th. It's Kansas City, Missouri Crypticon, called Crypticon Kansas City. I'll put together a tour page where there'll be links to all these shows we're going to be at. But we're also going to be at Flashback Weekend Chicago, July 30th, 31st, and August 1st. We're going to be in Louisville, Kentucky at Fright Night Film Fest on October 1st. We're going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma for Monsters of Horror in mid-November. Late November, we're going to be at Days of the Dead in Chicago. And we're going to try to do, I believe I believe it's the first weekend of November, or maybe it's in September, actually. I forget which. Astronomicon in Detroit. I'm trying to land a table for that show. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but we're trying this year. We're trying to get into Astronomicon in Detroit. So those are most of the shows for the year. So if that's anywhere near you, I know that's all kind of we pretty much stick close to the Midwest. We do a lot of shows in Ohio and Indianapolis and Louisville and Chicago, Kansas City. We kind of stay in that little bubble, but I said bubble, but we'll be trying to expand that as the operation grows and increases, as you guys buy more merch, hats, shirts, hoodies, comics, games, movies. As the profit starts to roll in, we will be able to take more risks, more financial risks, and travel out to shows on, say, the East Coast, say Pennsylvania, shows in Pittsburgh. There's some cool horror cons in Pittsburgh. There's shows in New Jersey. There's shows in Massachusetts. There's shows, there's Spooky Empire, I believe, going on right now in Florida. I would love to hit Spooky Empire one of these years. There's a lot of shows that sort of fall back. I want to go back to Atlanta, Georgia. There's Nashville, Tennessee. There's shows I want to do. So there's a lot of stuff in the Midwest and sort of the East Coast that I want to get to. West Coast stuff is harder logistically to get to, but I want to expand the operation as big, and I want to throw as big and wide of a net as I can to capture the minds and imaginations of as many weirdo strange heads as possible. And I do that with your help by sharing our stuff on the socials, by hitting the like button and commenting here on the YouTube videos, by subscribing to the newsletter, blah blah blah, by participating in the Indiegogos when we put out new stuff. All that grows and grows and grows the operation here, and I can't do it without you. I'm screaming into a void until you guys come in and do the thing. Do the thing with the thing. So with all that said, for Kevin Strange, my name is Hogan, and it's Free Comic Book Day. Go get your free comic book piece in that newsletter, and we'll talk to you later. Peace.